Hello to everyone. I am Yogesh Soni, and for the past 31 years, I am in this field of education. I started my journey with a few schools in Raipur since I was been brought up with ICSE board, and I was destined to be a doctor from the very beginning, the journey of my life. I was destined to be a doctor, and in fact, I appeared for it, and I was successful to score enough. But coincidentally, there was a crossroad standing in my life, and finally, I adapted myself to this profession of teaching. According to me, in a nutshell of the entire career, if I speak in one single line, teaching is a profession opted by chance, not by choice. The same happened with me. It was year 1995. I started with a school which, as a middle school teacher. Then after, I went to one another prestigious school of repute of Raipur city, in Raipur city, and there only I learned the tactics of exactly teaching. I had a chance, I had an opportunity to work with the very eminent people over there, and then after this way I continued the second phase of my teaching journey, my teaching module with one of the ICSE, leading ICSE school during that particular time. Well, for me, the panorama of teaching has always been enjoyable to me. I never ever believed that teaching is a profession which should be opted by or opted for business. It's something which nurtures you, which fosters you from the core of your heart. I believe until and unless as a teacher you are not satisfied, how can you make your children, your students molded up? It was, I think, past 25 years back when I decided that in school, okay, we are given enough liberty to teach the best possible way we can. But later on, when I realized after spending a few years in schools as a teacher, as an educator, I later on realized that education is a very, very pious job. In fact, we should not call it as a job. It's a responsibility which has been imparted to us by the society so that we can build the nation builders. Fostering education from my side is also a very reliable, a very resourceful, and a very honest profession. But many of the schools I had observed, in many of the institutes I had observed that teaching has been opted as a profession. It's not merely a profession, teaching is an art. And I hope every one of us should never use a word to any child that it cannot be done by you. Rather, perhaps I should say that we should always, being as a teacher, to whatever the level of teacher you are a primary teacher, you are a secondary teacher, you are a fine arts teacher, you are a science teacher, whatever the field, whatever the temperament you had been associated with, one should always impart the education from the core of the heart, from the best of their expertise, from the best of their endeavors. So we started this institute, Gravity Tutorial, and we started with one single student. When I started teaching him in his mid-quarterly exam, he failed, but it was the responsibility of the parents who considered me as pathfinder for their child, and later on the child, he secured very good marks. From that moment I decided that I do have a vision in my life. Previously my life was a ship without a radar, but later on I developed this as a mission, as a vision of my life, to produce as many doctors, the maximum I can. I took my career subject as chemistry and biology both. But the most fascinating part of my life was whenever I am standing here in this place and I have this marker pen and I have this board with me. This is enough for me to make any child confident enough that he or she can lead a very, very successful life and he or she can become a doctor. Not only I'm talking about this profession, that I had gone through the very darker side of this profession also. I had seen the immense and extreme cases, the very crucial circumstances. But it was the best part of my life that I worked with. I had an association with the best teachers, the best mentors. Nowadays teachers are much more facility providers, but no, we are mentors. And mentoring child from the very root up to that level, the pinnacle, the apex level, is not an easy job. Spending 31 years in the field of education, working hard tirelessly for students to shape up their dreams, to make them turn eligible, to develop the proficiency in them, to make them feel eligible that yes, you can. We are not born idiots. We are born with intellectualities. We have the various IQ parameters from student to student, from child to child. In fact, the teaching must be child-centric. So, I firmly believe with less number of students, you can produce toppers, one can produce toppers. During Corona pandemic, it was my real examination because I personally believe that I am not comfortable teaching online. I had never been comfortable talking about the accountability of the students. I am never ever comfortable teaching a huge heap of students and teaching them, because for me teaching is a very pious job, it's a very honest profession and consistent effort is required. So for me, teaching students only with 25 limited students, single batch, is enough for me. In my career, I had gone through various circumstantial situations. Very few were good also, very few were good also, and very few were a little not bad, I should say, but perhaps the darkest, the scariest, the most frightening part of being as a teacher is that spending so many years of teaching, still the best part is that many students, they meet me and they say that, sir, we are able to do the operation, we are able to do the surgeries, whatever the position we are, it is all because of you. But coincidentally nowadays, the teaching tendency has completely changed. I would especially request the upcoming generation who are coming for teaching profession, that if you are coming in this profession only for making money, please do not come. Please do not come. Teaching comes with lots of goodliness, lots of godliness, and apart from that, the most eminent part is being as a teacher, we are always a learner, and we need to keep on learning. We can learn from any particular branch, not only the science but arts, commerce, philosophies. The real legacy of teaching lies in this conceptual fact that we need to understand the psychology of a child, and we need to expand ourselves. We need to make the child feel comfortable. Every child learns, every child is born special. So thank you so much. I wanted to summarize myself in these words, but still I have a lot to speak, I have a lot to say. But thank you all my students, thank you all my critics, thank you all the learned people, the scholastic people from whom I learned a lot. Thank you so much.